Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mondays. I got a good one for y'all today. Something I talk about often. And when I learned about this, completely switched my game around, right? I get all these ideas, guys, through books that I like, through mentors that I like, that I look up to. This one I think is from Bob Proctor, all right? Shout out Bob Proctor. I used to love watching his video. I still watch his videos. I took a course on it. I love what they teach, all right? But today's episode is on how to practice faith over fear. All right, it's huge, right? Because the way I see it and the way that it was explained makes perfect sense. All right, so faith and fear are both believing in something you can't see. They're both believing in something that's not here. One's believing in something positive that you want, and one's believing in like something you don't want, right? But both aren't real. And most of us, and I think it's like human nature, we always drift towards the fear, right? What's the worst thing that can happen? The things that scare us, and you know, our minds do that to us to like kind of like protect us, right? They're here to protect. It's like a self-protection thing, right? To keep us away from danger. But sometimes we can overdo it and we can like way overdo it to the side of fear. We basically just use our imagination. Like, let's just go through a situation right now. I want to give you a few seconds. What's one situation right now that you have fear over right now? It can be anything. Just think about it. Literally, think about something you have fear. We all have it. All right. And just think about it. What is it that you're really thinking about? The worst thing that can happen, right? And it kind of like consumes you sometimes. All right. Now, on that same matter, think of the best possible outcome. Just think about it. I'm gonna give you a few moments. On that same problem you have faith. Fear. What can you have faith on? I'll give you some time. Because I go through it all the time, right? So now that you're thinking about it like that, it's something you can practice. It's something you can practice. Like when people say, how do you practice mindset? I'm giving you literally an exercise right now on how to practice it. Because the other way comes naturally. It's like natural to like have a lot of fear. And like I said, it's meant to protect us. One is just using your imagination for the worst thing that could possibly happen. And one is using your imagination for what you want. So once I learned this, guys, I think everything really changed for me. So, like I said, I was always, and I still do have fear. Like, it's not like I overcame it completely, but I've been learning how to practice more and more and more on having faith and learn, like, you know, things are going to go the way we need them to. Right. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, man, JR, it's like you're never like stressed. I never see you stressed. I never see you like upset. Why? And I tell them because I have a lot of faith, right? I just believe like that things are gonna go right. And see, like I was talking to somebody the other day, we were having lunch, and they were like, I have a lot of stress. Like I'm always just thinking about the worst possible outcome. Sometimes I can't sleep. And then when I told them this, I told them to practice this like for a week. And the next time we had lunch, they said that their whole energy, their whole mindset, their whole life was changing already with this one little tip I gave them. And I was like, man, it's very true. Like if you try this, it's gonna change your life. Like just getting rid of stress in general. I mean, we're not gonna completely get rid of stress, but learning how to do little tricks and tips like this can really change your game. So I want y'all to start practicing this. If you're watching this, start practicing right now. Just having a little faith and stop being so fearful, right? Because we all, like, I have a lot of bills, guys. I have a lot of overhead. I have a lot that can go wrong, right? And I think we all do, but I have a lot because a business owner with a big company. I have 10 people here. You know, I have a few businesses, and at any time things can go wrong. And you know, as a business owner, especially, like, shoot, you know, that's scary. But I mean, it can apply for anything. It can apply for, you know, relationships, your health, pretty much anything. See, the way you move is just different when you're operating from faith. You're no longer on defense, right? Because when you're in fear, you're just always on defense. Oh, like I'm gonna protect myself. I'm not gonna do that because of this. I'm not, like, when we're full of faith, you work on offense. You're on the offense because you got that faith to back you up. And just living a life of faith and living a life of fear are gonna give you two way different outcomes. Because one, like you believe your actions are going to be way different. Like I said, one's defense, one's offense. I always tell people, like, your thoughts become things, right? So if you're always fearful and thinking of the worst, like you're going to manifest more of that than if you're always thinking from positive and what you do want, because your thoughts do attract things, right? So that's what I practice daily, and I wanted to give you all that little tip, and I wanted to give you some examples too. So I'll give you an example. One thing is faith over fear is what I'm doing right now. Right now. Nico behind the camera can tell you that I did not really want to do this, and I don't really want to even push this out there because I feel like this is like real personable, right? This is like my real thoughts, and I didn't want to get that vulnerable. But I just say, you know what? I'm gonna just do it instead of being scared. I'm just gonna do it because I think these little tips that I have the way I think can help people. Because what I've been able to achieve in the past 5 years is way different than what I was able to achieve in the other 5 years when I was thinking different. So that this right here, me being in front of you on this camera, is faith over fear. Not only that, I make zero money doing this, guys. I do not make a dime off making this content for you guys. I spend a lot of time and it costs a lot of money to produce these videos. That's faith over fear right there, right? Just like, I mean, I'm not making no money off this and it's spending a lot of my time, but you know what? I have faith that this is going to reach the right people and that these videos are going to do well. So even right now, like if y'all are looking on the YouTube, I don't even think the numbers are doing that crazy good, but I'm just doing it over faith because I like to do this, right? It's not about, views and all that. It's just like I do have a passion for this. Another thing, guys, is the reason I started this whole content creation and just being behind a camera was because I wanted to grow, right? So I was kind of like, I wouldn't say I was ever really shy. I've always been pretty outgoing, but I was always kind of like, I wouldn't even say like awkward or nothing. It was just like I was really scared to be on camera. Like it was pretty scary to me. And not even just the camera. I'm going to be honest with you. It was never really even about the camera. It was just about like my communication skills in general. I knew could increase by a lot. Like when I would have lunch with people and talk to people, I always feel like my just communication skills were pretty bad back then growing up. And just going into like new business meetings with people, my communication skills needed to go up. In all settings, I just feel like my communication skills in general were just super low. And I was like, what's one way I could force myself to grow my communication skills? And I was like, this. I just like putting myself out there. Not only is it not forcing myself, but like just getting really uncomfortable. Like this was very uncomfortable for me. And now people look at me and they're like, dang, like that's crazy. You make it seem so effortless. Like you don't get shy. And I'm like, no, I never really got shy on camera. It was always just about my communication skills. You know what I mean? And to this day, now I'm like speaking in front of, like I'm speaking at events. I'm speaking at meetups. I'm speaking on stages. Now that shit right there was scary. That was scary as hell for me. So I would literally like be so nervous before going on stage. Like speaking on stages was the scariest thing for me. Scariest thing. I had so much fear in that. Like before going on stage, like I would literally feel like a ghost, like that scared. Like I remember being in Houston one time and I was speaking and like it was like, man, I want to say it was like it was like 30th or 50th floor, something crazy high in there. And it would look like something out of a Batman movie. There was like 300 to 500 people in a room filled up with my peers. Some of the biggest names in my industry were there speaking. And it was my turn. And I remember just getting there and just being like, yo, put me next. I'm ready. Like, I was just so scared I wanted to get it over with. Dude, the first, I would say the first 30 seconds, I was just floating on the stage. Like, I don't even remember it. I just remember, floating. Like I was just there. Like I just put myself there. And then after 30 seconds, it all came back and I just started going good. But that's how much fear I had in it. Washington, D.C., my first time ever speaking in front of a stage, on a stage in front of people. I remember I almost didn't even go to it. I was with, shout out 210 Chic. We would do videos back then. And I told him, I was like, bro, I'm not going. I'm not going, bro. Like I was that fucking scared. But you know what? Because what was my mind thinking? It was racing towards everything that could go wrong. I was just completely making shit up in my mind now that I think about it. That was so unrealistic and wild. Like just to get me to not go. It was so crazy. Like I would literally thinking about dang, what if I pass out? Stuff like that. Like just unrealistic things. And but I summoned the courage to just go, and I went. And I actually did a great job. But I just remember that fear being so strong, but just overcoming it and be like, all right, now I'm good. And so it comes with when you practice this faith, when you're scared and you do it and you practice that faith, that fear gets shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, because it's like instead of running from it, you stand up to it. Another thing could be on a plane. I remember my first time really being on a plane as an adult. I was like 27 years old. I was going to Cabo, and I was so scared before the flight. And it was just like, what is fear? It's just the worst possible outcomes. You just thinking and thinking and thinking. But nah, I overcame it. I got on the plane, and now I go on planes like nothing. It's not scary at all, but it used to be such a horrifying experience for me. But I just practiced that faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear. I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And now I get on a plane like nothing, takes off. I dang be sleeping, reading a book, whatever. It's nothing to me. Those are just a few examples that I wanted to give y'all where I overcame personal fear by just having a lot of faith. And it becomes a habit, right? Everything you practice becomes a habit. So now I feel like I have a lot of faith. I don't lose any sleep at night. I go to sleep like a baby every night, and I just know things are gonna work. It gets to the point sometimes where I have so much faith that I just do things that are way out that I don't even know if I can accomplish, just because I have that much confidence and faith in myself nowadays. So it is something that you can practice. You can practice, because like I said, some people say, well, how do you practice mindset? I'm giving you an actual tip, and like you can actually practice this. It's a simple exercise. The next time you feel fear, practice faith. It's that easy. We all have something right now, if you think about, that you're scared of. So, all right, guys. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure, like always, guys, you subscribe, like, share with your friends so we can continue to get this message out. Drop some comments if you like it. And before I end the video, that one thing you were thinking about earlier when I gave you some time, I want you to sit and really think about it. Write it down and really focus on it. And this week, I want you to tackle that fear, all right? Overcome it and come out great. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Stay clutch.